What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Moto Outsider Coffee Show. As always, joined by my man Chris Bear, drinking that cup. What you got in that cup, Chris?
Three shots of espresso, a little bit of heavy cream. We are getting today going wide open.
Beautiful. We're going wide open. So that means we went to Boston. We were in Foxboro, baby. We had to race the dirt bikes through the Harvard Yard. We watched Cooper Webb tie the points. Absolutely amazing. It was a great battle in the 450 class. Cameron McAdoo extends his points lead. Hayden Deegan gets his second win of the season. So all around, just fantastic racing last night. And then we have what I believe is going to be one of the best finishes to the season coming up in the coming weeks. But Chris, my man, got a question. I got a question for you.
Talk to me.
And I got a question for all the viewers. So listen up, everybody. When you were going to the track, whether it's the morning for the races, afternoon for an evening practice open ride, what you got in a cup? What are you drinking when you're heading to the track? This is a coffee show. So I will say that every time we were going to the track in the morning, baby, it's at least two Yeti thermoses of coffee. So what were you drinking?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we live in one of the coldest places in the world, and
Hey,
usually it's freezing in the morning. So I always went with coffee, but I try not to overdo it because I didn't want to have to pee before the race or
yep,
have to pee all day, and you get caffeine headaches kind of easily. I feel like when you ride, like when it's hot, like it's warm, you're sweating.
yep,
I feel like the caffeine headaches come out for whatever reason whenever I rode. So just a little cup of coffee just to get me a little
yep.
perky in the morning and perk up.
For sure, for sure. So
Yeah, man.
everybody, we want to know what you guys were drinking on the way to the track, whether it's Irish coffee or regular coffee. We want to know, baby. So let us know. And I know your dad. Your dad definitely had some Skullberry in on the way to the track, I bet.
Goldberry. It's in the chinos now.
Oh, the Zins, baby. That's a different topic. Anyways,
Chinos.
guys, let's jump right into the race last night, man. Just awesome racing all around. Chris, give me your thoughts. Lead us in here. What were your thoughts, all things Foxborough?
I mean, again, I hate to say it, I love me some Jett Lawrence, but best race of the year. Jett loses the points lead,
Yee.
tied with Cooper Webb. It was an 8 point deficit going into the night, and they tied it up. I don't know, it was amazing. Honestly,
Is
the
he
battle up
choking?
front was good. What'd you say?
Is he choking?
I honestly thought something was wrong because they
Did I
showed
say
him
that?
riding around the first couple laps, and he was standing up a lot, but it didn't look like he was like riding aggressively. Eli Tomac crashed
Yep.
and he was behind Eli. He chased Eli for probably, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 laps, if not more. And then he passed Eli and he just didn't do his usual jet stuff. He didn't move up as
Yep.
quick as he normally does. There was like 12-second gap between him and Anderson, and he closed it down, but
Mhm.
it was between him and the leaders, excuse me. He had probably 6 seconds between Anderson and him, and I don't know. He didn't do it. He went for the last corner pass and almost took out Anderson. It was close, good finish, but
Yep.
Jack getting something in his head. I mean, was he
Could be.
flustered? Is
I
he
mean,
hurt?
this is the first time where he's kind of had his back against the wall, being pushed a little bit. I think he's all dog though. I think he's gonna wipe the slate clean. He'll be back, and it's gonna be as if this past weekend never happened. However, past results are not indicative of future results. So we could see something happen here where maybe he does fall off, and all of a sudden Jet's out of the equation. He's not going to be out of the equation, but
I
he'll
know.
be back further in the points.
To start 15th
But
was just so unlike him. To start 15th on
right.
normal, not
Well,
wasn't
and
rain.
Cooper Webb had a great start too. It was one of those starts where it's like, yeah, just check out time. See ya.
Yeah. No, and I mean honestly, Chase was coming in, but I don't know. I think I always joke Coop's got that dog in him. You always see that meme going
Yeah.
around Instagram, whatever. But I didn't think he was gonna let Chase get by. I mean, it got pretty close there for a little bit, but
Yep.
Coop's corner speed this week was insane. That
Mhm.
corner before the corner before the finish line corner, we're going to that rhythm section. He was railing that inside. Like he cuts so low. He's kind of back to doing that,
Yep.
2021 championship year type of deal. It's fun to watch from Coop. It is, when he's comfortable like this.
Mhm.
He out of another stat from Steve Mathis. He only got to not wear a jacket on the parade lap last night. I
Hey,
mean, that's a statement.
hey, that boy ain't
Those
cold. That's
guys.
ice in them veins. He ain't cold.
He went out and won, whole shot win. So obviously
Yep.
that means nothing to the actual race, but it's just
No,
funny
of course.
because
It's a
Pete
fun
Coop,
little stat too. And
Yeah.
dude, loving Ken Roxon's consistency this year. I think that's a huge win for him, proving that he can still hang, an entire season up front and lead in these young guys, man. I'm loving his consistency. And I mean, can you say the same thing for Tomac this season? What are your thoughts on Tomac? But first, one time for Adam Cianciarulo retiring, great career, dude. But we all saw it coming in the Moto Outsider show, called it. So,
Yeah.
come on the show, let's talk about it. But anyways,
Yeah.
thoughts on Tomac as we start to wrap things up. What do you think? We saw a glimmer of hope,
Well,
but
yeah. But to hit on Kenny quick too. I mean, I didn't realize this till last night, but 6 podiums this year in
dude,
13 races. I didn't Kenny's that guy who can literally get, 10th place for whatever reason and then show up and win the next week. Just how
Mhm.
good he is. He's
I
comfortable and it
expected,
clicks.
yeah, I almost expected Tomac and Roczen to flip this year. I
Yeah.
expected the inverse of what we're actually seeing, which is
I
really
know.
interesting.
Yeah. So Tomac, announced after his win last week or 2 weeks ago that he's had an ankle injury.
Yep.
It's been hard to keep, weight in the pegs, which for him is his balance really important and all that deal. So is it that? I mean, again, his qualifying speed's been amazing. Heat race was phenomenal. He just goes
Mhm.
out whole shotted by like 4 bike lanes. Yeah, I don't know if it's just the injury, the age. Um, you do probably question when you're him when you have an Achilles injury, like, will I ever get back to where I was? I think he's close. I really do, but it just goes to show what the field's like. So stacked. And then you have
Yep.
guys like Ken Roczen who can win any weekend. And then you guys like Eli who crashed on the second lap, I think, this week and came back up with Jett, which was impressive to get sixth in that main event. But
Right.
expecting more wins, expecting more podiums. He's got 4 races left. I hope he can bust out at least one more win this year. Be really good for him, his confidence. And rumors are swirling that he might
Baby.
come back next year.
I
He's
love the
talking to
rumor
teams. Another
mill.
Steve Mathis rumor, but Steve Mathis is our Adam Schefter. He always leaking all these little bits
Yeah.
and pieces. So shout out to Steve Mathis for the info. But I'm excited. What do you think? You think he comes back next year?
I think he comes back. Because he's still proven that he can run up the front, even with an ankle injury, right? He's probably had that injury longer than he's let on, or at least let us on.
Yeah.
So I want to see at least if Tomac's going to go out, I want to see Tomac go out 100% healthy, not at the fault of an ankle injury or anything like that. Because I still think the guy is just, and he's it's obvious he's an incredible talent. This season is not indicative of his talent, I don't think. I know we've all had our opinions and people still will have those for sure. I just think next year will be one of those delineation years where it's like, hey, I'm still that guy. I'm still here. Maybe
Yeah.
he's just sighting up Jet and all these guys to seeing how he has to practice in the offseason. Who knows, dude? Either way, I think he's back.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, we know we saw it in St. Louis. I mean, no one's really been able to keep up with Jet like he did in that second main event. He held with him for 10 minutes, and I'm pretty sure that he knew what was going on. He got us in second place. He didn't have to push for that win. Like going
Yep.
to the last race. Obviously, we had chaos, unexpected, but it's just life, man. I think Eli's very
Mhm.
smart, and I think he doesn't want to get hurt. So if he's not comfortable, he doesn't ride to that level. But
Right.
he's showing signs of the speed being back. So um, consistency probably important. We've seen Chase as well has been super consistent. It's
Yep.
he's probably been like the fastest guy to not get more wins. Like he has been up there a lot. Again,
Dude,
him and
I
Cooper
was gonna
battled in
say
Indy.
something about that. I'm like, we hear Chase Sexton's name nonstop.
Yep.
To what end? Like, there's never anything. It's like, okay, Chase Sexton, and it's like
You're waiting for the win.
we're
You're
waiting for something. He's having incredible rides. The dude's up front battling, holding off the faster guys behind him. Great. But it's like, ooh, where's that spice? Where's the zest? Where it's like, yeah, Chase
Yeah.
Sexton, bam, I'm thinking.
Well, last year, I mean, he showed us so much raw speed. He also
Yep.
showed us a lot of mistakes and crashes. So if you're him, do you slow down and try to just be a little more consistent, maybe a little slower? I think that's what we're seeing, right?
Mm,
I don't know. Maybe he's not comfortable still with the bike. Maybe it's
yep.
I don't know, man. These guys are so mental too.
Yeah. So much
Could be
speculation
injury he's
behind the
not
scenes
talking
we don't even
about.
know.
Yeah, could be hurt, could be dealing with stuff. I don't know.
Mhm.
Jet's also been so dominant that these performances from the other guys look, they go under the radar because
They're
Jet
just
won. Jet
overshadowed. That's a
won.
good point.
You don't really remember the guy in second and third. You just know that Jet won and life goes on. So I don't know.
Right.
I didn't think we were gonna get to this point in the season where Jet was gonna be tied with Cooper Webb. I never saw
No.
this in my,
No, dude, this
plan.
single-handedly, that is the best part of this season so far to
Yeah,
see. Because what were we saying in the beginning of the year? Jets are running away with it. It's over with. 450s is done. Blah blah
right
blah blah
away.
blah.
Yep.
Now here we are, dude. From 8 points back to just straight up even. Now Jet has to go to work
Yeah.
because
Has
momentum is a real thing. We see it in other sports.
you're only as good
Those
as your
teams
last
carry the
race.
momentum into the playoffs,
Yeah.
usually do better than teams that were dominant all year. We could just look at the Yankees for that. So, dude, it's like, okay, is Jet now going to start to be thinking in the back of his mind is like, ooh, what's going on? He's going to be hypercritical of every little mistake on the track, and the next thing you know, he's tipping over, sliding out. Who knows? I'm excited to see what happens because when those guys smell blood in the water, it's like, okay, who's going to jockey for position and make these moves? We're about to find out.
100%. Yeah, I don't know. I just to get to this point in the season is incredible. And 4 races, man. We're going to some races that Nashville probably could be a little soft, depends on the weather and
Mhm.
everything. Denver, Salt Lake, elevation races. Eli always is really well there. Not that Eli's in
Yep.
this, but kind of mix up the points a little bit. We don't know how Jet's going to be on the 450 at altitude. Um, there's a lot of question marks. And again, Coop is just looking so good back to his championship level form. It takes one mistake. We saw it last year. We saw Coop go out with that concussion, when him and Eli kind of came together. We saw Eli go out with the injury. We haven't had that type of controversy yet, but getting to that point in the season, we don't know what's coming next. So
Right.
I think these last four races are going to be everything we
Oh,
ever
dude.
hoped for and dreamed of. And I'm looking forward to outdoors already, but also things just
Always.
got interesting, things got
Yeah.
real interesting.
Dude, segueing into 250s, man. We're not going to touch much on the futures because even the commentator, dude, even RC was just like, what a race. Like you could tell in like their tonality after the race is over. They're like, thank God.
Yeah.
But anyways, moving into the 250s, man, Hayden Deegan locks up his second win of the year. Cameron McAdoo's just obviously checked out with points. But dude, I mean, what are your thoughts on 250s? I know you were texting me some wild stuff during some of the practice sessions that you were watching with Prado's seat. So, dude, what are your thoughts on 250s?
Yeah, no, MXGP was nuts. I know with all the Prado stuff, but no, it was
Yep.
I don't know. It wasn't like a boring race, but I mean Hayden had a good start, checked out, and I kind of, in my opinion, thought he was going to be doing that earlier in the season. Probably
Mhm.
was more injured than he kind of let on to, but I mean, looking, at the SMX races and stuff last year, he was so dominant coming off outdoors. Had a pretty decent rookie Supercross season, but I don't know. He just had a really smooth, clean race. He didn't gap anybody. It was like a 2-second gap the whole time with him and
Yeah.
McAdoo. I think McAdoo is showing his speed, showing that he's becoming an actual contender. He's not just lucking into this. He's so
Mhm.
consistent. Dungy-esque, if I may. It's
That
like I'm
makes
like
sense.
look at Dungy Villopoto, look
Yep.
at Deegan McAdoo. Deegan raw speed, McAdoo consistency, still fast. Good whoop speed. Good
Right.
race. I think Deegan could win this. If he wins out, I mean, four races left, he wins the title. So we do need some controversy in there for Cameron to win this. But
Mhm.
next week we have a East-West showdown because you can't say shootout because you might get somebody upset at NBC. Showdown. But no, these are my favorite races ever. Sorry, I was getting a phone call there. But yeah, my favorite races ever.
Yep.
I don't know. I'm so excited for next week. I don't just we need more of those showdown races. We don't get enough of them.
No, I agree, man. And it's more fun because it creates an artificial rivalry. Oh, the East Coast versus the West Coast.
Yep.
And like the history of which coast is generally faster in the lights class. But either way, that style of racing, I think, is also better for television too.
It
To
is.
look at it from like a marketing like growth of the sport
Yes.
aspect. But dude, I mean, Jalik Swoll, the
Delete.
Triumph team, those boys coming in. What are your thoughts for Triumph up to this point? I mean, Jalik Swoll, definitely a top 10 dude. I think he could be a top 5 cat as well. Um, but for a new team this late, coming into towards the end of the season here, I think they did great. We got to get Drew back on the show to get his opinions from the inside. But what do you think of, Jalik and the rest of the squad there at Triumph?
Yeah, I think that they're having an amazing season. Probably better than they could have ever asked for.
Agreed.
So I don't remember exactly what Jalik got eighth. So
He got
I know he
8th
was
yesterday.
battling up a
Yep.
little bit. Jalik himself, I think it's a good season for him. He's finishing the races. He's being consistent, and I think he only gets better from here. The bike only gets better from here. I watched MXGP, all the practices and stuff yesterday, first motos today, and they're doing so well overseas too. I think, and I was telling my dad, like, I think that they're proving that that bike is legit. I know it's not
Yep.
like, record-breaking, mind-blowing technology or anything, but solid bike. We got the MXGP guys podiuming last week, in Sardinia. I don't know. I think it's going to be really good. I have some friends. I can't say anything, but it sounds like they might have a pretty big name 450 guy over there next year. Talk to
Hey,
you about it off camera. I heard some stuff this week. I have
cool.
a friend that's close to some people in the sport. It's not. I don't have any inside sources. I'm not trying to act like I do.
No, because
Friend who knows some
people.
people.
Stop lying.
I have a friend who knows some people that sounds like they might be getting a pretty big name next year, hopefully. So I
Sweet.
don't know. I think that the Triumph team is building off a really, really good, start to the season.
Yep.
Outdoors probably be better. Evan Ferry might come back. Joey Savachi's racing. People forget how good Joey Savachi was the past few years in
True.
450s in between
True.
injuries. Triumph boys, it's impressive, right? I mean, did you
So
expect them to finish this many races? Because I didn't.
N- No, dude. And I mean, of course, the new team, you always expect the new team to kind of just shake the cobwebs off and not even contend. You just want them to finish. We want to get to the checkered, right?
Of
But dude,
course.
Jalik is ninth in points,
Hmm.
right? And dude, eighth place is tied with 72 points. That's only, 2 points off. I mean, dude, so they can move in potentially, not probably not the top 5, but they could definitely go 2 or 3 spots up
Yep.
to, you know, further solidify that they're a team to play. I think that's a massive win. And that's why I want to ask Drew a lot of these questions because, like he said in his video, no real expectations. We want to win. We're going to win. But it's just like, dude, to see the consistency of a new team, these guys are proved, the riders are proven. I'm
Yep.
just glad that the program has proved itself. And now we're like, it's a bona fide program. Okay, now we know we can talk about it for next year. It's not a flash in the pan.
Yeah, no, that wasn't a mistake. They didn't do anything wrong. The bike's not suffering. The riders are doing great.
Yep.
We know it's again. I come back to Sabachi because I do think he's going to be their guy to maybe get moto wins right away.
Mhm.
Hopefully, that or it's going to be a flop. But I mean, he's been training with Zach Osborne. Zach Osborne was rumored to be coming back, but I think he got hurt again and is not coming back. But to
Mhm.
train with Zach every day, multi-time champion,
For sure.
I got to think Joey's going to be pretty solid coming in, and he's been training just outdoors all year. So I'd see them winning some motos this year, maybe an overall or two.
Yep.
Then ask the Max kind of go from there. And the next year they're on a 450. They just have a 450 bike out in the field. So rides opening up, people leaving teams, people switching teams.
Yep.
Yeah.
What do you think? So Deegan's third in points, and we'll
Yep.
wrap up the 250s with this.
Okay.
McAdoo, Vial, Deegan, Pierce Brown.
Yep.
If Deegan solidifies second or third in points, in second or third, let's call it there.
Hmm.
Is that a win for the Deegan camp and all the hype and everything over the past 2 years? Is that a win?
Yeah. I mean, dude, the kid's so young. And you
Yep.
look, the problem is
I'd agree.
that, everything is now compared to what Jet did. It's never like,
Mhm.
how's Hayden Deegan doing? It's how did he do compared to Hayden or compared to Jett Lawrence? And they
Right.
set the bar so high, him and Hunter last year. So not really fair to look at, Hayden's career if he gets second or third, if he doesn't win it, and be like, man, he should have won. Like, what happened? Came in hurt. He's young. He's got a lot to learn. He's got a lot of time left in 250s. I
Yep.
think it'd be a big deal for him to get that, win and maybe win the outdoor title. Like he's such a solid, strong, gritty guy. I can't think of anyone who's like more gritty than him.
Right.
Maybe Cameron. I don't know who comes to your mind when you think of gritty 250 guys, but I don't know. Maybe Jordan Smith, RJ. Obviously, there's some good
Yeah, those are
guys,
guys who
but
have been in there longest, right?
Hayden's got the spice. He's young. He's ready to kind of show what's going on there. So it's a win for me. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's a win, and I just I guess I don't think the media hype is fair towards the Deacon camp and everything like that. Brian is a savage, dad. The guy's a genius.
Yeah.
So I think it's a win for him as a racer. He's always going to be criticized as a rider. I think that's just how his career is going to be set up. But I think it's definitely a win for the camp as a whole. What are you expecting going into Nashville and then Philly? I'm pumped for the Philly race. But what do you think? What do you think as we head towards these latter rounds, man?
Yeah, I think next week's going to be very important for this 250 title because if someone gets between Cameron and Hayden, like in my opinion, like Cameron needs to come out and win this race. He needs the whole shot. We're
Okay.
going to start to speak win this race if he wants to make a statement for the title because again, you got RJ, you got Jordan, you got Levi, so
Mhm.
many guys, and these points are going to be spread out. You're going to see whether it's Levi or Cameron. I think one of these guys is going to lose a lot of points. One of these guys is going to gain a lot of points.
Yep.
I don't know which one it's going to be. I think Hayden needs to be smart. He's gonna be racing with some guys he hasn't raced with yet this year, and don't be stupid if someone messes with you in practice.
Yeah.
We've seen him have some kind of bonehead moves this year with him and Hammaker. Dude, I don't know. I think next week's gonna be a really important point in the 250 championships. It really
Yeah.
is.
We're coming up to those pivot points where now like you're gonna start to separate. And
You
you're
got
gonna
to
see who's
think
gonna
too.
choke.
Yeah, and they only take what 9 out of each heat, and then they have a
Right.
combined per coast. So 9 East guys, 9 West guys, and then
Yep.
whatever comes out of LCQ. So one of those guys has a problem in the LCQ bike issue. Like we were talking about it, but Jorge Prado's seat fell off in qualifying race yesterday at
Yeah.
MXGP. Something stupid like that happens though, and you have a bad start in the LCQ, dude, it's over.
Right.
Then you lose 25 points.
This is where the mental starts to overcome the physical.
Yeah.
You're already in peak physical shape. How can you handle the mental stress of closing points, battles? Because the
Yep.
battles are going to get more intense now too.
1000%.
You got
Yes.
money on the line, you got points on the line, job interviews, aka new rides. So there's a lot that's going to come up in these next few races, man. I think we're going to see fantastic racing as we head into the outdoors, dude. So pumped.
So excited, man. I don't know.
Dude, you want to know like a video I stumbled across. This is completely off topic.
Yep.
Um, I stumbled across the Ryan Villapoto helmet cam from like Washougal. I forgot what year it was. With him and Dungy.
13 or
And
14 probably just
I can't imagine riding a 450 at that pace for that long. Like It's incredible. I mean, the Supercross helmet cams are great because the racing's tighter, but the raw speed of outdoors, obviously, it's incredible to watch, man. So I just fell down the rabbit hole of old helmet cams. Him, James Stewart at High Point, Roczen at Unadilla, like those helmet cams are just insane, dude.
And I was, we're younger, we ride. We're like, dude, I'd love to be a pro. I'd love to be a pro. It's
Yeah,
kind of
right.
suck doing 2 35-minute motos in the heat too.
Yep.
Like I'm like, I'm pretty content chilling on the couch watching it from home. I'm good. I'm good. I'm all right.
Yeah, and I think me as well. And I think that's how you know you and I were not put on this earth to be motocross racers, man. Just
Yep.
being completely honest. But dude, great show, great racing coming up, man. Any last words before we head into Nashville?
Well, I want to give a couple words, and I'll let you go first. But talk about Adam Cianciarulo, who announced his retirement, and then after the next four races,
Yep.
great career, amazing career. I kind of know my thoughts, but I'm curious what your thoughts are. And
Yeah, no, definitely a stellar amateur career, a stellar career as a whole. Not the 450 results he wanted, especially when you look back who he came up with, training with, riding with. Definitely expected more out of him for sure. But at this level, dude, the sport's going to make or break you at some point, and I think he just kind of went. You know, Injuries plagued him. I know he did a lot of extracurricular stuff too. So, just a good career either way, man. But kudos to Adam Cianciarulo, dude.
yeah, no, and that's my whole thing. I mean, I
Yeah,
honestly sent him a DMs because I mean, been a fan, and at the end of the day, it's all perspective. I think you line up 100 dirt bike racers right now in a room and ask them, would you, take Adam Cianciarulo's career if you could have you had a choice?
100%.
100%, right? Injuries probably sucked, but the amount of wins he's had as an amateur and the titles he's accumulated and the stats and the records. Again, some people have a better amateur than pro career. It is what it is, but he still won. I didn't even realize this. I just forgot, but he won Monster Cup in 2019 against Tomac. Won some outdoor motos in 2020. I think he won one or two outdoor motos in 450s, specifically like High Point. Um, he showed so many flashes of speed, especially 21, 22 Supercross first races, like was a front runner. So there's no questioning the speed. I think it's hard because the last 2 years you remember him as like a 12th place guy who's just been rolling around, but still one of the best to ever do it. And I don't know, again, I would kill to have the amateur career he had. So even though it didn't
Yeah,
work out
man,
in 450s, he
for
got
sure.
250 wins, he won 250 MX title, nothing to be upset about. And I think he's
Nope.
going to do great things afterwards. I want him in the booth like ASAP.
Yeah,
So
get him in the booth, dude,
him
for
and James
sure.
for outdoors and Weege, the three of them. Oh my
Dude,
God.
we just prime. I can't wait to have Stewart in there. But yeah, throw AC in the mix. I would love it, dude, especially
Yeah.
because he's got a nice energy to him and he's got obviously incredible rider acumen. So I'm sure him and Stewart can just back and forth all day. We don't even have to talk.
Yeah, AC's like that guy who like always has like an opposite view to what your view is, but he's not annoying. Like
Right,
he has good thought out
exactly.
introspective of like why he thinks that way. He's not the guy
Yep.
who's like, no, it's this because of that. It's like he's very, very smart and intellectual. And yeah, I hope he gets in the booth right away.
Yeah. Only the best for AC going forward, man, for sure. All love, no doubt.
All love, man. All love.
Well, dude, you summed it up best, man. So um great seeing you. Excellent show.
Great to see
And
you
we'll be
too.
back. We're gonna be back next week.
We're gonna make
Nashville.
this week.
We'll be back. Yeah, we're gonna be back this week. We're gonna put on the cowboy hats. We're going to Nashville, dog. Honky talk. I'm gonna put my square toe cowboy boots on.
And shout out to our actual cowboy, Aaron Passenger,
Oh
hurt
yeah, the
this
goat.
week. Did not
Yeah.
end up racing on Saturday night, but
Hey.
hope he's well. Hope his elbow's okay. And yeah, I think we're gonna try to line up a guest this week, hopefully, to interview or something. We
Yeah.
have been talking about it. We got some ideas in mind. So
Hey.
stay tuned.
Guys,
Stay
let
tuned.
everyone stay tuned. Stick around. Please let us know what your favorite drink is in the comments. Comment on today's show. Share with your friends. Do everything you can. We are the Moto Outsiders, and Chris Bear, we are. How many people do you think make it to the end of the show?
Like seven, probably.